The Forgotten Guardian, the USS Dauntless, drifted silently in orbit around the colony world of New Haven, its massive hull catching the light of the distant sun. For 75 years, the battleship had maintained its vigilant watch, a relic from humanity's first great interstellar conflict. Most systems remained dormant, the ship operating on minimal power, just enough to maintain its orbit and basic life support. Commander Ethan Summers stood at the observation deck, gazing at the blue-green planet below. At 43, he was the ship's caretaker and sole human occupant, assigned to what most officers considered a career-ending post. His reflection stared back at him from the reinforced glass, graying at the temples with tired eyes that had seen little excitement in the 5 years since his assignment began. "Charlotte, magnify Sector 4, he said. The ship's artificial intelligence responded immediately. "Magnifying Sector 4, Commander." The view screen zoomed in on a collection of lights spreading across New Haven's northern continent. Progress City, the colony's capital. Home to nearly 2 million people, it represented humanity's successful expansion beyond Earth. Summers watched as tiny shuttles moved between the surface and orbit, the routine traffic of a thriving colony. His quiet contemplation was interrupted by a soft alert tone. "Commander, I've detected unusual gravitational disturbances at the system's edge," Charlotte announced, her synthesized voice calm but urgent. Summers straightened. "Show me." The display shifted to the outer system, where ripples of energy were distorting space. Within moments, the distortion took form as 6 sleek vessels emerged from faster-than-light travel. Their hulls were biomechanical in appearance, with organic curves that seemed to pulse with internal energy. "Zalarians," Summers whispered, recognizing the distinctive design. The Zalarian collective had been expanding aggressively through nearby sectors for the past decade. Technically, they weren't at war with humanity, but tensions had been rising. This was the first time they had approached a major human colony. "They've deployed scanning beams," Charlotte reported. "They are conducting a system-wide survey, including us." Summers watched as the alien ships formed a precise formation and began moving inward through the system. The largest vessel, nearly twice the size of the others, led the way. "Their flagship has altered course. They're approaching for a closer inspection," Charlotte said. On the screen, the massive Zalarian vessel adjusted its trajectory, moving directly toward the Dauntless. Summers felt his heart rate increase. The old battleship was a museum piece compared to modern vessels, let alone alien technology decades beyond human understanding. The alien ship slowed as it approached, powerful scanning beams washing over the Dauntless. Summers could almost feel the intrusive technology probing through the ancient hull. "They're hailing the planet," Charlotte reported. "They're ignoring us completely." Summers accessed the communication feed, listening as the Zalarian commander introduced himself as Admiral Vrekthar and demanded to speak with the colony's leadership. A second, more focused scan swept the Dauntless. "I believe they're assessing our threat level, Commander," Charlotte said. The main Zalarian vessel had already moved past them, heading toward New Haven. Summers intercepted a communication between the alien ships. "What of the orbital construct?" asked a subordinate voice. Admiral Vrekthar's dismissive response came clearly through the speakers. "An ancient warship, powerless and obsolete. A quaint museum piece the humans keep as a reminder of their primitive past. Focus on the colony. That's where the resources are." Summers felt his jaw tighten. The aliens had no idea what the Dauntless truly was, what it could become if awakened. His terminal blinked with an incoming message from the planet's surface. It was marked urgent and encrypted using old military protocols that few would remember. "They have no idea what they've just awakened," Summers muttered, reaching for the controls. "Charlotte, begin preliminary system diagnostics. We may need to wake the old girl up." Governor Lisa Martinez stood at the head of the conference table, her back straight and shoulders squared despite the tension in the room. Through the vast windows of New Haven's government hall, she could see the looming silhouette of the Zalarian flagship hanging in the sky like a predatory animal. "They've requested landing clearance at our main spaceport," said Security Chief Alan Wright, his voice tight. I've dispatched our defense forces, but against their technology. Grant them clearance, Martinez said firmly. We need to buy time. Within an hour, the Zalarian delegation had arrived. Admiral Rekthar towered over the human representatives, his iridescent scales shifting color under the conference room lights. His 4 eyes, arranged in a diamond pattern, surveyed the humans with obvious disdain. Your colony occupies a strategic position, the Admiral stated without preamble. The Zalarian Collective requires your resources and this orbital location. We offer you the opportunity to serve as a protectorate under our guidance, Martinez kept her expression neutral. Admiral, New Haven is a sovereign human colony with protection under the Interstellar Accords. Rekthar made a sound like grinding stones, the Zalarian equivalent of laughter. The Accords hold no authority with the Collective. Your Earth is weeks away at your primitive speeds. Your orbital defenses are minimal. He gestured toward the window. And that ancient warship above us couldn't defend against our scout vessels, let alone our fleet. One of the Zalarian officers displayed a hologram of the Dauntless. Our scans show it operating at minimal power. Most weapon systems appear non-functional or dismantled entirely. A relic from when you technological infants first crawled into space, Rekthar added. Primitive scrap metal best suited for recycling. Martinez noticed her communications officer, Jack Reynolds, quietly slip out of the room. She needed to keep the aliens talking. Admiral, I propose we discuss terms that would benefit both our peoples, she said. New Haven has much to offer through peaceful trade. Rekthar's upper eyes narrowed. You misunderstand, Governor. This is not a negotiation. Outside the conference room, Jack Reynolds ducked into a maintenance corridor and pulled out an old-style communicator that operated on frequencies modern systems no longer monitored. Dauntless, this is Reynolds. Code Alpha 7 Delta. The Zalarians are making their move. Aboard the ship, Commander Summers received the transmission and immediately activated a secured console. Charlotte, initiate Protocol Lazarus. Authorization. Summers 973 Echo. Warning, the AI responded. Protocol Lazarus will require 6 hours for complete system activation. Detection risk increases with each stage. Understood. Begin Stage 1. Keep power signatures minimal. Deep within the massive battleship, long dormant systems began to hum with new life. Coolant started flowing through weapon conduits that hadn't been used in decades. Reactor chambers prepared for ignition sequences. Back in the conference room, Admiral Rekthar had delivered his ultimatum. You have 24 Earth hours to prepare your population for transition to collective authority. We will begin resource extraction immediately thereafter. And if we refuse? Martinez asked. The Admiral's scales darkened to a deep blue. Then we will demonstrate why resistance is pointless. He gestured toward the window. Starting with that orbiting museum piece you call a warship. As the Zalarian delegation departed, Martinez found Reynolds waiting outside. Did you contact Summers? She whispered. Reynolds nodded. He's initiated something called Protocol Lazarus. Martinez's eyes widened. During her military service, she had heard rumors about certain older ships, vessels that weren't quite what they appeared to be. Get me everything we have on the Dauntless, she ordered. Not the public records, the classified files. As night fell over the colony, citizens looked up nervously at the Zalarian ships patrolling the skies. Few noticed the old human battleship had slightly changed its orbital position, or that the dim running lights along its hull had taken on a subtly different pattern. The Dauntless was awakening. Deep within the USS Dauntless, ancient machinery stirred to life. Lights flickered on in corridors that had remained dark for decades. The ship's central computer core hummed with increasing activity as dormant circuits reconnected and self-diagnostic routines executed. System restoration at 20%, Commander. Charlotte's voice had changed, becoming more fluid and nuanced as her higher functions came online. Primary weapons will be available in 4 hours. Commander Summers moved through the ship's bridge, his footsteps echoing as he activated manual control stations. Holographic displays illuminated his face with a blue glow, showing the status of systems throughout the massive vessel. "Charlotte, show me the Zalarian fleet positions." A three-dimensional tactical display appeared, showing 6 Zalarian ships in orbit around New Haven. Red markers indicated their weapons were powered but inactive. "They're positioning for a blockade," Summers observed. "They don't consider us a threat." As he worked, memories flooded back, not his own but the ship's. The Dauntless AI was sharing its history with him through the neural interface in his command chair. He saw flashes of the First Interstellar War, the Dauntless leading the charge against the Arcturian Armada, its revolutionary adaptive shield, technology turning the tide of the conflict. What few people knew was that after the war, instead of being decommissioned, the Dauntless had received classified upgrades. Its systems were advanced far beyond what even current military vessels possessed. Then it had been deliberately aged, its true capabilities hidden beneath a veneer of obsolescence, and placed as a sleeping guardian over important colonies. "Commander," Charlotte interrupted his thoughts, "I'm detecting an unauthorized access attempt at Airlock 7. Summers checked the external camera. "Is it Zalarian?" "Negative. Human biosignature detected." On the colony surface, Dr. Amanda Foster had spent the last 2 hours in the deepest level of the colonial archives. As the lead technologist for New Haven's defense systems, she had security clearance to access classified historical records. What she found about the Dauntless had left her stunned. "This can't be right," she whispered, scanning documents labeled "Top Secret Lazarus Project." The files detailed weapon systems and defensive capabilities far beyond current technology. According to the records, the Dauntless wasn't obsolete at all. It was decades ahead of anything in current service, disguised as an antique. Gathering the critical technical data onto a secure drive, Amanda made her decision. The colony's small defense force wouldn't stand a chance against the Zalarians. Their only hope was the sleeping giant in orbit. Using her security credentials, she commandeered a maintenance shuttle and launched toward the Dauntless, narrowly avoiding a Zalarian patrol vessel by flying through the orbital debris field. Now, she stood at Airlock 7 trying to gain entry to the battleship. The airlock suddenly cycled open. Amanda stepped back surprised as Commander Summers appeared in the doorway. "Dr. Foster, I presume," he said. "Charlotte identified you from the colony defense roster." "Commander, I have critical information about the ship's systems," she said, holding up the data drive. "I know what the Dauntless really is." Summers smiled slightly. "Then you'd better come in. We have work to do." On the bridge, Amanda stared in amazement as dormant consoles activated around her. The ship was transforming before her eyes. "The quantum-locked missile systems need recalibration," she said, examining the weapon's diagnostics. "With my access codes, I can reduce the startup time by half." As they worked, Charlotte announced, "Commander, the Zalarians are launching landing craft toward the colony." Through the view screen, they watched as shuttlecraft descended toward New Haven's capital city. "They're starting their occupation early," Summers said grimly. "System restoration now at 50%, Charlotte reported. "Stealth systems can be engaged. Offensive capabilities in 2 hours." Amanda looked up from her console. "That's not fast enough. They'll have ground forces established by then." Summers's expression hardened. "Then we'll have to create a distraction. Charlotte, connect me with Governor Martinez. It's time to show these aliens what happens when they scoff at an old relic of human engineering." Governor Martinez stood in New Haven's Emergency Command Center, surrounded by colonial officials and defense personnel. Tactical displays showed Zalarian troop carriers landing in the outskirts of the city. "They said we had 24 hours. Security Chief Wright said angrily. "It's barely been 6. "Aliens lie," Martinez replied simply. "What's the status of the evacuation?" "We've moved 30% of the civilian population to the underground shelters," a staff member reported. "But at this rate, we won't get everyone to safety before they reach the city center." The communications officer interrupted. "Governor, incoming transmission from the Dauntless." Commander Summers's face appeared on the main screen. "Governor, we're preparing to engage the Solarians, but we need more time. Our systems are still coming online. How much longer? Martinez asked. 2 hours for offensive capabilities, but we can run interference sooner. We need you to create a diversion on the ground. Martinez nodded. We'll buy you time, Commander. Just make it count. After the transmission ended, Security Chief Wright leaned close to Martinez. Are we really pinning our hopes on that museum piece? Martinez looked at him with steady confidence. That museum piece is more than it appears, Chief. Now get our defense teams ready for guerrilla tactics. Above the planet, Admiral Vrekthar summoned his captains to the flagship's command center. A holographic display showed the colony and orbiting vessels, including the Dauntless. Our ground forces report minimal resistance, his second-in-command reported. The humans are retreating to fortified positions but lack the firepower to stop our advance. And the ancient vessel? Vrekthar asked, his upper eyes focusing on the human battleship. Still dormant, Admiral. We're detecting minor power fluctuations, but our analysis suggests it's merely maintaining basic systems. The humans likely don't have the resources to reactivate its weapons, assuming they even function after so many cycles. Vrekthar's scales rippled in satisfaction. Position 2 cruisers near it regardless. Once we secure the colony center, we'll disable it as a demonstration of our superiority. On the Dauntless, Summers and Amanda worked frantically to accelerate the ship's awakening. The bridge was now fully illuminated, holographic interfaces glowing as Charlotte coordinated the revival of complex systems throughout the massive vessel. The Ahur, power signatures becoming harder to mask, Charlotte warned. Zalarian scanners will detect our increasing energy output within 30 minutes. Amanda looked up from the weapons console she was recalibrating. We need to divert power from non-essential systems to speed up the weapon initialization. What do you suggest? Summers asked. If we temporarily shut down artificial gravity on decks 3 through 17, we can redirect that power to the quantum defense grid. Summers nodded. Do it. The ship briefly shuddered as power shifted between systems. Status indicators changed, from red to yellow on several key tactical systems. Time to weapons readiness reduced to 45 minutes, Charlotte announced. Still not fast enough, Summers muttered, watching the tactical display as Zalarian ground forces pushed toward the colony center. Amanda studied the ship's systems, then straightened suddenly. Commander, we don't need full weapons to create a threat. The Dauntless has electronic warfare capabilities that are already online. Explain, Summers said. We can't fire yet, but we can make them think we can. The Zalarians are relying on censored data. What if we feed them false readings? Slow smile spread across Summers' face. Charlotte, can you generate false targeting signatures aimed at the Zalarian vessels? Affirmative, Commander. I can create the appearance of weapons lock without actually engaging systems. Do it. Let's see how they react when this museum pieces start showing signs of life. On the Zalarian flagship, alarms suddenly blared. A tactical officer's scales paled to a sickly yellow. Admiral, the human vessel. It's activating targeting systems. Multiple weapons locks detected on our vessels. Vrekthar's four eyes widened in surprise. Impossible. Target that ship immediately. All vessels. Prepare to fire. The ultimatum had expired before it began. The sleeping giant was awake. The Zalarian vessels broke formation, 3 cruisers moving to surround the Dauntless while the others maintained their blockade positions around the colony. On the flagship's command deck, Admiral Vrekthar watched the tactical display with growing concern. Report, he demanded as his officers analyzed the sudden change in the human vessel. The warship is generating targeting signatures consistent with advanced weapon systems, his tactical officer replied, scales shifting nervously. But power readings remain inconsistent with full combat readiness. Vrekthar's secondary eyes narrowed. A bluff? Possibly, Admiral. Or their systems are only partially operational. Maintain distance but prepare to neutralize that vessel, Vrekthar ordered. I want continuous scans. If they're waking that relic, I want to know exactly what we're facing. Aboard the Dauntless, Summers watched the Zalarian response with satisfaction. They've taken the bait, he said, observing the enemy ship's repositioning. They're being cautious now. Amanda worked furiously at her console, rerouting power through alternative circuits to speed the awakening process. I've managed to bring the forward shield array online, but we're still 30 minutes from weapons capability. Charlotte, status of stealth systems, Summers asked. Stealth field generators at 70% capacity, Commander. We can mask our power signature, but not our physical presence. Summers considered this information. Can we use the stealth systems to hide our position if we move from our current orbit? Affirmative. We can create the illusion that we remain in position while actually repositioning the ship. Amanda looked up. That could work. If we can get behind their flagship while they think we're still here. Begin preparations, Summers ordered. We'll execute the maneuver once their attention is divided. On the colony surface, Governor Martinez had put her plan into action. Colonial Defense Forces launched a series of coordinated attacks against Zalarian landing zones, not to defeat them, but to confuse and delay their advance. Team 3, fall back to position Delta, Martinez ordered from the command center. Team 5, initiate Operation Fireworks. Across the colony's industrial district, a series of explosions rocked storage facilities. Not ammunition or weapons, but harmless chemical reactions creating impressive light and sound. A distraction designed to draw Zalarian attention. In orbit, the Zalarian ships responded immediately to the surface activity, diverting scan resources to analyze the new threats. Now, Summers said, seizing the opportunity. The Dauntless's stealth systems activated, projecting a convincing holographic image of the ship in its original position while the actual vessel silently drifted away. Thrusters, operating at minimal power to avoid detection. Stealth field holding, Charlotte reported. Zalarian scanners show no indication they've detected our movement. As the battleship slowly maneuvered behind the Zalarian fleet, Amanda continued bringing systems online. Deck by deck, the ship awakened. Internal fabricators began producing ammunition. Self-repair nanites circulated through the hull, strengthening structural weak points. Deep within the vessel's core, the quantum reactor reached optimal capacity. Weapon systems at 70%, Charlotte announced. Main cannons operational in 15 minutes. Summers nodded, watching as the tactical display showed their true position now behind the Zalarian flagship. Charlotte, run a detailed scan of their vessel. I want to know their weak points. Scanning, Charlotte replied. Their shields are strongest at the forward sections. Aft sections show vulnerability where their propulsion systems connect to the main hull. Night fell over the colony as the Dauntless completed its silent repositioning. In the darkness of space, only the fake holographic image of the ship remained visible to Zalarian scanners, while the actual battleship now floated in firing position behind the alien fleet. Final weapons check, Summers ordered, his voice quiet despite the tension. Amanda's fingers flew across the tactical controls. All systems green, Commander. The Dauntless is ready. Summers took a deep breath. Charlotte, disengage stealth systems on my mark. Target their flagship's propulsion vulnerabilities. He glanced at the tactical display one final time. The Zalarians remained oblivious, still scanning the holographic decoy. Remember what the Admiral called us? Summers asked with a grim smile. Primitive scrap metal, I believe. Amanda returned the smile. Let's show them how wrong they were. The first light of dawn was breaking over New Haven when Commander Summers gave the order. Disable holographic projection. Bring all weapon systems online. Target Zalarian propulsion systems and defensive arrays. The false image of the Dauntless vanished from its original position. Simultaneously, the real battleship's running lights blazed to full intensity behind the Zalarian fleet. The element of surprise was complete. On the Zalarian flagship, alarms blared as sensors suddenly detected the massive human vessel where it should not be. Admiral, the tactical officer cried, scales flashing in distress. The human ship has repositioned. It's directly behind us. Rekthar spun around, all four eyes widening in shock. Impossible. How did they? His words were cut short as the Dauntless opened fire. Blue-white energy lanced from the battleship's forward cannons, striking the flagship's engines with surgical precision. The Zalarian vessel shuddered violently, Its propulsion. Systems failing instantly. Target their weapons next. Summers ordered calmly. Charlotte, initiate evasive pattern Delta. The ancient warship moved with surprising agility, banking hard to port as retaliatory fire from the Zalarian escorts filled space with energy pulses. Most missed completely, and those that hit encountered shields far stronger than the aliens had anticipated. Shields holding at 92%, Amanda reported from her station. Their weapons aren't penetrating our adaptive matrix. Charlotte's voice remained steady. Zalarian vessels attempting to surround us, Commander. They're coordinating their fire. Deploy countermeasures, Summers ordered. Launch disruptor drones, small objects ejected from the Dauntless's hull, rapidly accelerating toward the alien vessels. Once in position, they detonated in brilliant flashes that scrambled Zalarian targeting systems. In the confusion, the Dauntless struck again. This time, concentrated fire disabled the weapons arrays of the nearest Zalarian cruiser. The alien ship listed helplessly, emergency lights flashing across its hull. 2 enemy vessels neutralized, Charlotte confirmed. The remaining 4 are regrouping. On the colony surface, Governor Martinez watched the space battle through observatory telescopes. The night sky lit up with weapons fire, visible even through the atmosphere. It's working, she whispered. The old ship still has some fight in her. In orbit, the Zalarians launched a coordinated counterattack. Energy beams converged on the Dauntless from multiple angles, finally overwhelming a section of its shields. The battleship shuddered as damage reports flooded in. Hull breach on Deck 12, Charlotte reported. Sealing bulkheads. Repair systems responding. Summers gripped his command chair. Return fire. All batteries. The Dauntless unleashed its full arsenal. Particle beams, plasma torpedoes, and conventional railguns fired in perfect synchronization. A Zalarian light cruiser vanished in a brilliant explosion as its reactor containment failed. Another vessel, crippled by multiple hits, began drifting, out of formation. Admiral Rekthar, watching from his disabled flagship, could not believe what he was seeing. The primitive human relic was systematically destroying his technologically superior fleet. How is this possible? He demanded. Their weapons technology should be decades behind ours. His science officer's scales had paled to a sickly white. Admiral, we're detecting technology we've never encountered before. Their shields adapt to our weapons and their hull. He hesitated, checking his readings again. It's self-repairing. Indeed, where Zalarian weapons had damaged the Dauntless, the hull was already knitting itself back together. Nanomachines swarmed over the damaged sections, rebuilding the armor plating even as the battle continued. The remaining Zalarian vessels attempted to regroup, but the Dauntless pressed its advantage. Summers directed a barrage of fire at the nearest cruiser, targeting its weapon emplacements with precision. We've disabled 3 of their ships, Commander, Amanda reported. 2 destroyed. Only the flagship and 1 cruiser remain combat effective. Summers nodded, his expression grim but satisfied. Target the last cruiser. Let's leave the Admiral with just his flagship. The Dauntless banked gracefully, bringing its main guns to bear on the final escort vessel. The Zalarian ship tried to evade, but it was too late. Energy beams pierced its shields, disabling its primary systems. Admiral Rekthar stared at the tactical display in disbelief as his fleet was reduced to a single operational vessel, his own damaged flagship. The old relic sends its regards, Summers transmitted on an open channel. The disabled Zalarian flagship drifted in space, emergency power systems casting an eerie glow across its hull. Admiral Rekthar stood on his command deck, scales darkened with rage as he surveyed the damage reports. Signal the ground forces to accelerate their advance, he ordered. If we cannot win in space, we will take hostages on the surface. On the Dauntless, Summers received the transmission from Governor Martinez. The Zalarians are pushing hard toward the city center, she reported, her voice tense. They're taking civilian structures as they go. We can't hold them back much longer. They're trying to secure bargaining chips, Summers replied. Charlotte, status of our quantum-locked missiles? Online and ready for deployment, Commander, the AI responded. However, I must remind you, that their use near populated areas presents significant risks. Amanda looked up from her console. Quantum-locked missiles? Those are theoretical weapons. Not on this ship, Summers said. The Dauntless was testing them before being placed in dormant status. He brought up a tactical display showing the Zalarian ground forces. Charlotte, can we program the missiles to target only Zalarian energy signatures? Affirmative. The targeting systems can distinguish between human and Zalarian biosigns. Amanda studied the weapon specifications with wide eyes. These missiles, they ignore shields completely. They phase through normal matter until they reach their target. A weapon the Zalarians have never encountered, Summers confirmed. It's why the Dauntless was disguised as a relic, to hide these advancements until they were needed. He opened a channel to the colony. Governor, we're sending coordinates. I need you to pull your forces back at least half a kilometer from those positions. Understood, Commander, Martinez replied. As the Colonial Defense Forces retreated from their positions, the Zalarians pushed forward, believing they were gaining ground. Admiral Vrekthar watched from orbit, his mood improving slightly as reports came in of successful advances. The humans are falling back, his ground commander reported. We will secure the government district within the hour. Vrekthar's satisfaction was short-lived. On his tactical display, he detected multiple launches from the Dauntless. Incoming projectiles, his officer warned. Interceptors engaging. The Zalarian point defense systems fired, energy beams striking the incoming missiles and passing right through them. Impossible, the tactical officer exclaimed. The interceptors aren't affecting them. In the skies above New Haven, the missiles descended, passing through buildings and infrastructure without effect. The Zalarian troops looked up in confusion as the weapons seemed to malfunction, passing harmlessly overhead. Then the missiles found their targets. Each weapon phased back into normal space only when it reached a Zalarian soldier or vehicle. The detonations were precise, affecting only Zalarian technology and biology while leaving human structures intact. On the colony surface, Colonial Defense Forces watched in amazement as Zalarian positions erupted in precise explosions that somehow left nearby buildings untouched. What kind of weapons are those? Security Chief Wright asked in awe. Governor Martinez shook her head. The kind that were kept secret for a very good reason. In orbit, Admiral Vrekthar received frantic reports from his ground forces. They're being decimated, his officer reported. The human weapons, they bypass all our defenses. We've lost 60% of our ground forces in a single strike. The Admiral's scales paled. His invasion was collapsing. On the Dauntless, Charlotte analyzed the battle data in real time. Zalarian ground forces retreating to their landing craft. Their flagship is attempting to restore propulsion systems. Summers nodded grimly. Target their remaining engineering sections. Disable but don't destroy. The battleship fired again, precision beams striking the Zalarian flagship's attempt at repairs. Vrekthar's vessel shuddered as its engines failed completely. Open a channel, Summers ordered. Admiral Vrektar's face appeared on the view screen, his scales now a mottled pattern of rage and fear. This is Commander Summers of the United Earth vessel Dauntless. Your fleet is destroyed or disabled. Your ground forces are in retreat. You have one option remaining: surrender. Vrekthar's upper eyes narrowed. This is impossible. Your technology cannot be this advanced. That ship is 75 years old. And yet, Summers replied calmly, here we are. The Dauntless was never obsolete, Admiral. It was sleeping. You made the mistake of waking it up. The Zalarian Admiral's scales rippled in agitation as he considered his options. With his fleet destroyed and ground forces retreating, there was only one logical choice. We will withdraw, he said finally. Not good enough, Summers replied. Unconditional surrender, Admiral, or we demonstrate what else this primitive scrap metal can do. The morning sun rose over New Haven as shuttles carried the colonial leadership to the Dauntless. The massive ship now hung in a stable orbit, its hull gleaming as repair systems completed their work. Any evidence of battle damage had vanished, leaving the vessel looking more formidable than ever. On the command deck, Governor Martinez and Security Chief Wright stood in amazement as they toured the fully awakened battleship. All this time, it was just pretending to be obsolete, Wright said, shaking his head in disbelief. Commander Summers nodded. A sleeping guardian. After the first interstellar war, Earth Command realized we needed protectors for our distant colonies, but didn't want to advertise our technological capabilities. The Dauntless and ships like her were disguised as memorials but equipped with systems decades ahead of their time. In the ship's conference room, Admiral Rekthar sat in silent fury. The Zalarian leader had formally surrendered 2 hours earlier, his pride shattered along with his fleet. Now he was forced to sign a non-aggression treaty that would prohibit Zalarian forces from approaching any human colony for 50 years. Your deception was effective, the Admiral admitted grudgingly as he pressed his scaled hand to the document scanner. We believed your species technologically inferior. A common mistake, Martinez replied. Underestimating humans has historically been unwise. As the Zalarian delegation was escorted to their remaining shuttle, Amanda approached Summers on the observation deck. Earth Command just responded to our report, she said. They're dispatching a battle group. They'll arrive within 2 weeks to secure the system. Summers nodded, watching the stars through the view screen. And they're sending a fresh crew complement for the Dauntless. Our sleeping guardian is being recommissioned for active duty. What about you? Amanda asked. 5 years as caretaker of a supposedly dormant ship must have felt like exile. It was, Summers admitted. But now they're offering me command of the Dauntless. Permanent command. Amanda smiled. And will you accept? On one condition, he replied, turning to face her. That you stay on as chief engineer. No one else understands her systems as well as you do now. In the days that followed, repair crews from the colony worked alongside the ship's automated systems to restore the Dauntless to full operational status. The vessel that had once appeared to be a floating museum was now clearly a warship at the height of its capabilities. Word of the battle spread quickly through subspace communications. On distant worlds, Zalarian officials received reports of their defeat with shock and dismay. The news that humans possessed technology that could bypass their most advanced defenses caused panic in their military hierarchy. If one ancient ship could defeat an entire fleet, their supreme commander reasoned, what other weapons might the humans be hiding? 2 weeks later, the Earth battle group arrived. 6 sleek warships emerged from faster-than-light travel, taking up defensive positions around New Haven. Their commanding officer, Admiral Helen Garcia, came aboard the Dauntless for a formal ceremony. Commander Summers, she said, standing before the assembled crew in the main hangar bay. In recognition of your service and leadership, I hereby promote you to the rank of captain. The USS Dauntless is now officially recommissioned under your command. Summers accepted the new rank insignia with pride. Beside him stood his new senior staff, including Chief Engineer Amanda Foster. As the ceremony concluded, Captain Summers addressed his crew. What happened here was no accident, he said. The Dauntless was designed to sleep until needed, then to awaken more powerful than ever. There are other ships like her, protecting other colonies, hidden guardians waiting for their moment. The Zalarians thought they found an easy target. Instead, they awakened a legend. Later, as the Dauntless moved into formation with the Earth battle group, Admiral Garcia joined Summers on the bridge. The Zalarian Collective is spreading stories about human warships, she told him with a smile. They're calling them the Sleeping Giants. Your victory here has done more to secure our colonies than a dozen fleets could have. Captain Summers looked around at his bridge, at the ship that had pretended to be obsolete for so long. Not bad for an old relic, he said. Charlotte's voice responded with what almost sounded like pride. The Dauntless was never old, Captain. It was simply patient. As the battle group prepared for departure, the stars stretched and distorted as the ships engaged their faster-than-light drives. The Dauntless, once thought to be a memorial to past conflicts, led the way forward. A guardian no longer sleeping, but fully awake and ready to defend humanity among the stars.